Christina of Sweden, the queen who refused every rule. The crown doesn't fit. Not physically, perfectly measured, crafted for her, heavy in all the right ways, but still wrong. You stand in the cold halls of Stockholm, where everything feels carved from stone and expectation. Because this isn't just a kingdom, it's a script. And from the moment she was born, they started writing it for her. Christina of Sweden, raised not like a daughter, but like a king. You can feel it in the way she moves through the palace, not soft, not ornamental, sharp. Books instead of ballrooms, debates instead of dances, power not as something to admire, but something to understand. Because her father, the warrior king, Gustavus Adolphus, didn't raise her to be admired. He raised her to rule, and she does. Young, brilliant, unapologetically different. You see it in the way the court watches her, not with comfort, with confusion, because she doesn't follow the rules they understand. She doesn't soften her voice, doesn't shrink her presence, doesn't become what they expected when they imagined a queen. And at first, they tolerate it, because she's intelligent, because she's capable, because she wins. But here's the problem with a woman who refuses rules. She doesn't just break one, she breaks all of them. You feel it in the pressure that builds quietly around her. Not open rebellion, expectation, marriage. Always marriage. Because a queen alone, that makes people nervous. A queen without a king to balance her, that makes them uncomfortable. And Christina? She refuses. Not once, not politely, completely. You see it in the way she shuts down conversations before they fully form. Because she's not negotiating her life, she's deciding it. And that's where things begin to shift. Because refusing marriage isn't just personal, it's political. It threatens alliances, destabilizes expectations, creates questions no one wants to answer. And she doesn't stop there, because the more they try to shape her, the more she resists. You can feel it building, the tension between who she is and what they need her to be. Because ruling isn't just power, it's performance, and she's done performing. You see it in the way she leans into what fascinates her: philosophy, art, ideas that stretch far beyond the borders of Sweden. She brings thinkers into her court, challenges beliefs, refuses to limit herself to what a queen is supposed to care about. And slowly, the distance grows between her and everything around her. Because this isn't just a queen ruling differently. This is a queen who doesn't want the role at all. And that's something a kingdom doesn't know how to handle. Because power is something people fight to keep. And she's already starting to let it go, right at the edge of a decision no one sees coming. Because next, she doesn't just refuse the rules, she walks away from the throne entirely. And once that thought takes root, it doesn't leave. Not in a palace built to keep you in place. You feel it in the way Christina of Sweden moves now, not restless, certain. Because she's already crossed a line no one else can see. The moment she realized this isn't her life, it's a role, and she's done playing it. But a throne isn't something you simply walk away from. Not here, not now. This is a kingdom, a system, a structure built on expectation, and at the center of it, her. So when she begins to pull away, they notice. At first, it's subtle, shorter appearances, less interest in decisions that once mattered, a distance that grows, quiet but undeniable, because she's no longer investing herself in something she's already leaving. And the court? They don't understand it. Because power, you hold on to power, you fight for it, you protect it, you don't release it willingly. But Christina, she's already letting go. You can feel it in the way she turns inward, into thought, into philosophy, into questions that don't have simple answers. Because she's not trying to fix the system anymore, she's trying to step outside it. And then, she does something no one expects. She changes her faith. From the Protestant world she was raised in, to Catholicism. And just like that, everything shifts. Because this isn't just personal, it's explosive. In a country built on Protestant identity, this is betrayal. Not quiet, not manageable, unforgivable. You feel the tension snap, because now there's no pretending this is just a phase, no smoothing it over, no adjusting expectations. She's crossed into something they cannot accept, and she knows it. That's the part that makes it different. She knows exactly what this means. And she does it anyway, because by now, the decision is already made, not in a single moment, but in 1,000 small ones that led here. Every refusal, every boundary she pushed, every expectation she quietly broke, until there was nothing left to hold her in place. And then, the final step, she gives it up. The throne, the crown, the life that was built around her before she even had a choice. Gone. Not taken, given away, freely. You can feel the shock ripple through everything, because no one does that. Not willingly, not without being forced, not without something breaking them first. But she isn't broken. That's what makes it impossible to understand. She walks away standing, not defeated, not destroyed, free, for the first time. You see it in the way she leaves. Not rushed, not hidden, deliberate. Because this isn't escape, it's choice. And once she makes it, there's no going back. She steps out of Stockholm, out of Sweden, out of everything that defined her, and into something completely unknown. Because she didn't just refuse the rules, she refused the entire game. Right at the moment where she becomes something no one expected. Because next, freedom doesn't come quietly. And neither does the life she chooses after. And once she leaves, the silence doesn't follow her. It breaks. Because freedom, it isn't quiet. Not the kind she chose. You feel it the moment Christina of Sweden steps into Rome. Warm air instead of cold stone. Voices layered over each other instead of controlled silence. A world that doesn't expect her to be one thing, just to be something. And for the first time, she gets to decide what that is. She moves differently here, not restrained, curious, because she's not ruling anymore. She's exploring. You see it in the people she surrounds herself with, artists, thinkers, writers who challenge ideas instead of repeating them, because this is what she wanted all along. Not power, possibility. She hosts conversations that stretch late into the night, collects art like it's a language she's finally allowed to speak, builds a court of her own, not of control, but of thought. And yet, freedom doesn't erase who she was. It complicates it, because no matter how far she moves from Sweden, she is still a queen who walked away. And that follows her. You feel it in the way people react. Some admire her, some question her, some don't trust her at all. Because someone who gives up power willingly, that unsettles people. It doesn't fit. And Christina? She doesn't try to make it fit. She leans into it, lives louder, thinks sharper, refuses to shrink into something easier to understand. But here's the truth about freedom. It doesn't come without consequences. You see it in the way her life never fully settles. She tries to step back into power once, reaching toward influence she had already left behind. And it doesn't work. Because the world she walked away from, it doesn't open its doors again. Not the same way. So she adapts, again. Not back into a queen, into something harder to define. A woman who exists outside the system that created her. And that's where she becomes something different. Not a ruler. Not a rebel in the way others were. Something in between. Because she didn't just break rules, she proved they weren't required. And that changes everything. You see it in how she lives the rest of her life. Not quietly, not perfectly, but fully. With choices that don't always make sense to others. With actions that challenge expectations again and again. because she's not trying to be understood, she's trying to be herself. And that's what makes her unforgettable. Not the crown she wore, not the throne she left, but the decision she made to walk away from everything that defined her and still become something more. So we leave her here, not as a queen, but as a woman who rewrote what that word could mean. If this story stayed with you, if you felt what it means to choose your own life, even when it costs everything, don't stop here. There are more women like her. Women who didn't just follow history, they changed its direction. Subscribe and come back for the next chapter in Dark Heroines. Next time, we step into a woman who didn't walk away from power. She took it and held on to it, no matter the cost. Stay dangerous, stay loud, and never let them hold the pen.